Okay, this is the final skill we will need in order to be successful in Learning Workbook page 64. Distance equals rate times time. Okay, for each one of these things, we're going to write an equation that represents distance. The distance traveled by a car going 45 miles an hour for 2.5 hours. Well, distance equals rate times time. Rate is how fast it's going, so that's 45 miles per hour. Time is the length of time traveling at that rate, which is 2.5 hours. 2.5 is the decimal, 2.5. So the distance for this situation would be 45 times 2.5. Okay, next one. Distance traveled by a snail going 1 inch per minute for an unknown length of time. Okay, so let's fill in what we know. The rate is the speed, 1 inch per minute. So that's going to be 1. For an unknown length of time. So that means we're going to need a variable there, so we'll just leave that as t. So the distance traveled by a snail going 1 inch per minute for an unknown length of time will be 1 times whatever the time happens to be. So if the time is 2 minutes, 1 times 2 would be 2 inches. If the time is 10 minutes, then 1 times 10 would be 10 inches. All right, last one. Distance traveled in 6 hours by a comet traveling at an unknown speed. Okay, so this time the distance is going to be the rate, which we don't know, so we'll leave that as r, and times the time, which is 6 hours. So the distance is going to be r times 6. If somebody tells me the rate, all I have to do is multiply it by 6, and that will give me the distance.